Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about the vibrationary field and how the concepts that you experience at the vibrationary field when you become enlightened, your symbol enters the vibrationary field with the other symbols, how that concept also relates to the physical world in which we exist. So I'm going to focus on the difference between conversion and alliance. So when your symbol enters the vibrationary field, as mine did when I became enlightened, I basically joined all the symbols there, had my space there, entered the vibrationary field, and at that point experienced what's going on at that level. So, on the vibrationary field, I was immediately joined by the Hindu deities and many other symbols. As we created a block, if you will, a union or a joining of symbols, and our principle was basically love, no strings attached. Okay, so love is the strongest vibration, definitely. Okay, and there were many, many different symbols that were, for example, alone, so worried about conserving their space. And there were different major blocks, if you will. Okay, major groups, major unions of symbols. Okay, and what I experienced at that level is that my heart with the wavy line within it, okay, my symbol of enlightenment, entered the vibrationary field, and at that point we had a concept of love, no strings attached. Okay, so what we basically proposed to all the other symbols at that point and started growing exponentially is basically an alliance of symbols, okay, based on the principle of self defense, okay? So all together we defend each other in each individual symbol. However, we never attack anyone, okay? So it's the concept of non aggression, okay? That I've basically detailed in my other videos where I propose an alliance of sorts between everyone on the material world based on the concept that we will never attack. We will never attack, and we will defend everyone who basically agrees to joining us in that alliance that stating that we will never attack. We will never seek more space. We will never seek to take someone else's space. And the concept of love, no strings attached, is we accept you within our union, our group, basically, on those principles, and you are allowed to maintain your own space and determine how you grow and how you exist within your own space, and we don't tell you what to do. Okay, you just have to adhere to that basic principle that you will never attack anyone, and if anyone in our union is attacked, we will all defend together. The other big block, if you will, or union of symbols, and it's less of a union, is, as I experienced, was the heart with a cross on top of it. So you could consider that the heart of Jesus, if you will, okay? Which also exists on the vibrationary field as its symbol entered that field. And I am very fond of the heart of Jesus, definitely. And even in heaven, I had conversations with Jesus, and he wished me good luck on my mission here because he said it wouldn't be an easy thing, as we discussed that before I arrived here. So basically, and that was in the form of an archangel when I discussed with Jesus. So the heart of Jesus has a different philosophy, or had a different philosophy at that point on the vibrationary field, and that philosophy was the philosophy of conversion, right? So it's love's but strings attached in a sense, okay? And that was at that time the philosophy, okay? So basically, what the proposal that that block or that union of symbols had at that point was you can join with us, but you have to convert to our way of thinking, convert to our beliefs, right? And I'm not saying that these beliefs are not good, but it was a different philosophy. It was the conversion. So less of an alliance and more of a conversion, okay, to grow. And at one point, there came that time when, at the vibrationary field where the enlightened symbols exist, we had that conversation, if you will, between blocks, and we basically through communication explained, people should be allowed to exist within their own space. They don't have to convert to your way of thinking. You know, sure, that's a way of getting people um, for example, band together, right? You convert everybody's bands together. They convert to the way of thinking, the same beliefs, right? And at that point, defending the same ideals, right? But there's another way of seeing things, and this way of seeing things is that everybody should be free to grow in their own way, right? We all exist within God's creation. Everybody has their place within it, right? And when you convert everyone to your way of thinking, it limits things, right? Everybody becomes the same in a sense, right? So at that point, we had that discussion at that level, and it's a little bit like the same. This it can be applied a little bit to the same principle here in the material world, the physical world. You know, conversion is a form of conquering, right? But conquering, right, is against peace, right? So in a world where you're looking for peace and prosperity and immortal life for everyone, and the assurance of their space forever, you can't be conquering them. You have to ally with them, right? So it comes back to that concept of the difference between alliance and conversion, right? And every concept has its place and its time, right? But we have to grow together. We really have to grow together, and it's very important to allow people to have their space, because they might evolve in a way in their own fashion that might be so beautiful, right? So that doesn't mean that everybody has to be the same. Everybody has to have the same beliefs, the same thoughts. We're allowed to have our different beliefs, to believe in different things, you know, but everybody's allowed to have their space and to maintain their individuality, if you will. They can be free to believe what they want. They can be free to convert, but that shouldn't be there shouldn't be a promotion of that conversion, right? So we see that concept in many of the world's religions at this point. We say you have to convert to us, you have to believe in us. For example, to reach heaven or to be a good person or something like that. This is not true. Okay, and it's an interesting concept. You can be free to convert, but it's the freedom, right? It's that love. We will share our way of thinking with you, with love, and out of love, if you want to join our way of thinking, that's great. That's awesome. But if you want to maintain your own way of thinking, that's awesome as well. And we are still willing to ally with you. We are still willing to group with you, to accept you as you are, and to defend you, your space, and your right to have your way of thinking. Okay, so at that point, I think I just wanted to make this video to kind of detail what's going on at the Enlightenment field, vibrationary field, how those conversations took place, and how in the end everybody basically came together. The different blocks came together. At one point it became evident, and we kind of detailed this to to the other block, if you will, of symbols, which was the heart of Jesus, and we kind of put it in perspective when we said, you know, you have this union of symbols as well, okay, but you're so conquer based, right, conversion based, right, that you're basically taking over the spaces. You're basically expanding your symbol to everybody's space and basically overriding their space, right? And it became very interesting because when we pointed out, for example, look even at the heart of Mary, right, which was very closely aligned to you, but things got so out of control that you basically took over that space from her, right? So that was very unfortunate, and that was a way of showing, allow everybody to have their space, their individuality, their place, right? It's not about conquest, okay? It's about accepting and growing together, each in our own way, but defending the right of everyone to grow in their own way, okay? So once again, the difference between conversion and alliance, okay? But we have to understand that we do have to have some same common principles to be able to join that alliance together. And that's done through communication and expressing the principle: we will never attack. Everyone that is part of our alliance will never attack someone else, right? We will never initiate a conflict. We will never be the aggressor, and we will always all defend each other in case we need to defend each other. And that way, everybody's free to maintain their own space. Everybody's free to grow as they choose to grow, to maintain their individuality, and to flower in the most beautiful ways, each in their own way, as was basically created in this creation of God. So, in that sense, all religions are valid. All religions should have their place, right? All ways of thinking are valid, you know, and hopefully the positive ones are the ones that flourish, right? We all go through tough times. We all have negative thoughts, things like that at times. And you want to flourish beyond those thoughts, right? We all reach encounters. We all have different ways of thinking, right? Like that vibration on the vibrationary field of the heart of Jesus, right? It's interesting. These different vibrations have a heart shape, right? Uh, Maybe you would think about that, the relation, how these vibrations have a heart shape on the symbol of enlightenment, right? It's about realizing that, although our hearts, our beings, our cores might have different ways of seeing things, or we're just at different levels because our ways of seeing things evolve with time as well, right? So we're at different levels of our way of thinking, or in different places, in a sense, within ourselves at different times. We can continue to grow and to learn more and to basically expand our way of seeing things, right? And understand that everyone is precious, right? And although sometimes we might have some thoughts, well, we have this way of seeing things, and everybody should convert to our way. I think it's not about conversion, it's about alliance. So it's about having a way, adjusting our way of thinking to a way where conversion is no longer required, right? It's alliance under a fundamental principle that leads to the assurance of everybody's space forever and everybody's ability to develop in their own way forever. Wouldn't the world be a boring place if everybody was the same? So I'm going to leave this video on that, just having detailed a little bit the difference between conversion and alliance, hoping to really see in this world, as in all places, all worlds, that concept of alliance under non-aggression and self-protection, to basically protect everyone, to assure everybody's place, right? And it's attractive. It's an attractive idea too, you know. The stronger vibrations protect the weaker ones, right? But the weaker ones, you never know. That weaker vibration that you protect, that agrees to have that principle of never attacking anyone and coming to your defense one day too. Who knows? Maybe one day, within that weaker vibration, something wonderful and miraculous will develop, that might not have been made possible if that vibration and the individuality of that vibration had been snuffed out in a way, right? So we have to allow the potential for everyone to grow in their own way and to bring wonders to this world, to this creation, remembering that all the past, the present, and the future was created by God at the time of God. If you believe in God, and you're free to have your own beliefs, I can change that term for creation, okay, as a part of creation, if that's something that's more easy for you to accept as a concept, okay. We all exist within creation, okay, and it's kind of easy to think, well, okay, if all the possibilities, the operating principles of creation were exist, right? Well, the consequences of what can or basically the results of what can happen in the future already exist in a sense, okay. So let's remember, let's be easy on ourselves, let's be easy on others, let's allow everyone the time to grow, right? But let's also give them the opportunity to grow in their own way. We don't need to convert them to our way of thinking, you know. But what's important is to communicate and show them there is a way of growing where everyone comes together in a sense, to apply the fundamental concepts that bring peace for everyone. And when I say prosperity, it's not necessarily just financial, right? It's the ability to grow, to exist, to be secure, and to allow everybody to flower in the way that they choose to flower, and the results can be so wonderful. So we have to give ourselves the opportunity and set in place the basic structure, if you will, to allow everyone to grow, to allow everyone to have a secure space, you know, and it's also a question of responsibility to for some of those stronger vibrations, and I can kind of reflect that. Some countries, for example, are stronger, more military able than others, right? Well, it's a duty, it's a responsibility to say we all live in the same world, right? So if you're willing to apply these principles that you will never attack anyone and you will sustain peace for everyone, for this world, basically, well, we're willing to do the same, and we're willing to support you in your endeavor to do so, and we're willing to accept your support in our endeavor to do so. Okay, so a quick video on the difference between conversion and alliance, basically. And I hope the video kind of helps detail why alliance is so important. Just think about this, right? Imagine all the world. We're talking about conflict between nations, but we also, in the history of humankind, for example, have conflict between religions, right? Or conflicts between social groups, right? So civil wars and things like that. But if we manage to apply this principle, where we say your opinions are valid, your space is valid, and when that is mutually reflected, right? We ally together. You don't have to convert, or you don't have to disappear, right? You are valid and you can grow in your own way. And we hope that you see that we are valid and we can grow in our own way. All right? And at that point, we get to that concept of an alliance between everyone, between every individual, every nation, every company, right? For the furtherment of existence, for the furtherment of creation, to move beyond what we were, to always be better. And we'll meet challenges, we'll have challenges. And when we're all together, we can face these challenges together and be so much better at facing them. And honestly, in this creation in which we exist, there are so many beautiful, beautiful places we can attain and achieve when we work together in peace and prosperity. So we have to create that foundation for peace and prosperity, and it takes. And I'm not saying that you know um, ideas like conversion and all that didn't have their place in the past, but we have to learn to grow and realize that alliance. Imagine if there was a concept of alliance between all the religions of the world. We lose this idea that we need to convert someone to our religion. We can share with people our religion, our faith, with love, but no strings attached, right? And that's the concept: love with strings attached and love with no strings attached, which can be kind of hard to visualize as a concept. And I hope this video basically helps to express that and to communicate to you how this situation, this conversation happened at the level of the enlightened symbols, okay, on the vibrationary field, how this all happened. And using that concept as above, so below, basically, right, in a sense, right, which is an easy concept to understand after having listened to these videos that I've done. We can see, if that conversation and that discussion and that all took place there, well, the same reflection applies here in the physical world in which we live. So, really hoping that we can all learn to grow and to come together into an alliance based on the concept that we will never attack anyone. We do not become the aggressor. And that's fundamental to who we are in our constitutions, within ourselves, within everybody. A commitment at all levels of our existence. We do not attack people. We do not hurt people. We do not become the aggressor. We're willing to defend ourselves if we encounter a situation, and defending ourselves also means defending that concept that we will never attack anyone, right? The existence and foundation of that concept, right? So it means defending peace, defending the foundation for peace and prosperity for everyone. But we will never be the aggressor. And when everyone comes together on that concept, all religions, all organizations, all nations, all people, right? The world becomes a wonderful place. And that is also karma yoga, right? That's selfless action, but also action that is good for ourselves. And don't we have a responsibility to create a beautiful world for ourselves and for our children that come after us, right? A responsibility to be great people, to be big people, with big hearts, great big hearts, that are accepting of others, okay? And that, once again, is the concept of an alliance, right? Of coming together, of being one, realizing that we're all one within this creation. And although there's all these different beliefs and these different ways of seeing things, they were all created within creation. They're all valid, right? Thank you.